accepting it and just observing without judgment, it becomes neutral. So that's why we have to allow ourselves to feel it, not stuff it down into our depths where it can start to fester. Allow ourselves to feel it so that we can work towards letting it go. According to neuroscientist Dr. Jill Belote-Taylor, emotions are supposed to be only temporary experiences, only lasting about 90 seconds. Very short. And that is, unless you feed them. Our emotions take on a life of their own when we fuel them by ruminating, catastrophizing about the future, or beating ourselves up for past mistakes. Now, these mental habits create painful thought loops that keep us feeling stuck. So one thing we can learn to do is differentiate between positive emotions that are ego-generated and deeper emotions that emanate from our natural state of connectedness with being. Positive emotions generated by the ego already contain within them their opposite, into which they can quickly turn. So an example of this would be, take for instance what the ego may call love is really possessiveness or addictive clinging, and that can turn into hate in just a second. That love-hate relationship. It's like, oh, I met this person, I really like them. Well, wait a minute, they did say something that I really didn't care for. Maybe I like him a little still. Oh, no, I don't think I like him at all. As a matter of fact, I'm taking offense at that. I think I hate them. You know, it just click, turns. That's the ego. So ego-generated emotions are derived from the mind's identification with external factors, which are, of course, all unstable and liable to change at any moment. But the deeper emotions are not really emotions at all, but states of being. So emotions exist within the realm of opposites. States of being, they can be obscured, but they have no opposite. They emanate from within you as the love, the joy, the peace, and these are aspects of our true nature. So what's a negative emotion? It's an emotion that is toxic to the body and interferes with its balance and harmonious function. Fear, anxiety, anger, bearing a grudge, sadness, hatred, intense dislike, jealousy, envy. These all disrupt the energy flow through the body. It affects the heart, the immune system, digestion, production of hormones, and so on. And an emotion that does harm to the body also can infect the people you come into contact with. And indirectly, through a process of chain reaction, countless others you never meet. So there's a generic term for all negative emotions, and that is unhappiness. So, do positive emotions then have the opposite effect on the physical body? Do they strengthen the immune system? Invigorate and heal the body? Yes, of course, they do. Okay, so we know a little bit about our own emotions, but can we catch other people's emotions? What do you think? I see nods, yeah. The research suggests that yes, we can. Emotional contagion, or the transfer of emotion between people, appears to occur easily. And you know what? Even in online situations on the computer. We feel bad when others feel bad, and good when others feel good. We just tend to absorb other people's emotions. So that brings up the question, is it mine? So how many of you are empaths? Lots of you, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And you're going to know what I'm talking about. So how many of you have walked into a room and for no apparent reason you begin to feel an emotion that just doesn't make sense? For instance, anxiety, tenseness, maybe a little bit of anger or some other discomforting feeling. So in tuning into that, you might suddenly realize, hey, wait a minute. A minute ago I was happy, now all of a sudden I feel really tense. And then you spy a person who's sitting in the corner of the room, and by their body posture, maybe their facial expression, you can see that they are looking anxious and tense, as though they're wishing that they were somewhere else. Now, when we're sensitive, it's common to pick up other people's emotions. But if we tune in and realize this, then we can ground ourselves and release that, knowing that that emotion that we just experienced is not ours. It happens a lot. All we have to do, though, is tune in and be aware of that. So at this point, I want to bring up the subject of energetic fields. So we're all made of vibration. Each of us and the world is made up of both measurable and subtle fields that create and sustain life, the prana that comes in. So, like all energetic structures, a field involves the vibration of energy and also can carry information. And because of fields, reality is both local, or here and now, and non-local. In other words, occurring elsewhere and at other times. And this means that across time and space, everything is interconnected. And in regard to emotions, it's helpful to understand also our human auric fields. And there's many theories about the auric field, but most reveal the aura to have a fluid or flowing state made up of different colors and important, therefore, frequencies. So it's magnetic in nature, although it also has electromagnetic properties. And it's also reflective of the inner sanctum of the human being. So, you've all heard this, as within, so without, right? So beside the auric field, there's many other bands of energy that interpenetrate or surround the body. And these might be called energy bodies or energy planes. And their names, they do vary according to the culture and system that you're looking at. And in general, though, these fields are like stair steps that link the physical body to higher states. So first we have our physical body, there's the etheric body, the emotional body, and the mental body. Corresponding planes, the physical plane, the astral plane, and the spiritual plane. But the astral body is actually a bridge between our physical and our mental life, serving as a transmitter of vibrations, both from physical to mental and from mental to physical, so back and forth. And the astral can be said to correspond to water. So we can take that further. Water flows, right? Emotion flows. Now in regard to chakras, the solar plexus chakra is responsible for themes of confidence, taking action, accountability, self-esteem, that's a big one. And if your solar plexus chakra is blocked, you might feel tired and depressed, you might have a hard time taking action, or feeling like your actions are fruitless, or you may be dealing with some sort of shame or self-doubt. But the solar plexus, on the other side of that, also deals with emotions like happiness, confidence, joy. So if your solar plexus is out of balance, you may need to release any negative emotions that might be stuck, so to speak, there. So sprinkle in some healing practices, and you can get that stagnant energy moving freely so that you feel your energetic best. Now at this point I want to share a little personal story that relates to that. When I first started going to Casadega and being involved in things there, they have a little healing gazebo there that they would have open, and a couple of the spiritual healers would be in there. And so I had some things that I was dealing with that came up in regards to my early family life, because I had a very challenging childhood. I had a father who was very ill. He was in latter stage alcoholism, and being very small, of course I didn't know that I was an empath, you know, I was 5, but you know, realized much later that, oh yeah. But anyway, some issues, I thought I'd worked through all that, you know, forgave my dad. He died when I was very young, just 16. And I spent a lot of years going through that and just trying to figure it out, you know, why? Why were things this way? And when I got to Casadega, I thought, oh yeah, I've worked through all that. And then I got a reading, and it turns out that I hadn't, because they kept telling me about forgiveness. The past is the past, you know. And so I thought, okay. I went to the healing gazebo. I thought, okay, maybe I need some help with this. I thought I was all good, but apparently I'm not. So I went in there, and the healer, who has since passed to spirit, her name was Lorraine Peterson. So I sat down and she started working with me. And it was just the strangest thing. I sat there, and as she was working on me, and I was kind of meditating on this whole situation as well, she's working on me, and all of a sudden, right here, in my solar plexus, I started feeling this sensation. And y'all know what if someone goes to pop a bottle of champagne, you know how they pull it and it goes pop, like that? That's what happened right here in my solar plexus. It was as if somebody had grabbed a cork and just pulled it, and everything went boo, like that. It was a very, very tangible sensation. And I thought, oh. And as soon as that happened, tears just started streaming down my face. Now, I didn't feel emotional, which was kind of the strange thing about it. And I didn't feel emotional. But yet, these tears just kept coming and coming and coming for about a good couple of minutes, which seems like a long time, you know. So then that stopped, and I thought, wow, and a big release. I went and sat and was watching her, you know, do some more healings on people. And I thought, oh my goodness, all of that stuff that had been in there since I was yay high, it finally got released. Things get stuck in our energy field and we don't even know it. So that was actually what facilitated me becoming a spiritual healer. I was like, I want to be able to facilitate that sort of healing for people. And that's how I came to go through their program and do what I'm doing today. Personal experience. So, there's no hard or fast rules when it comes to emotional healing. It can happen in stages, and we may not go through these in a straight line, but usually you do go through them. Awareness. The first step in emotional healing is recognizing that you're experiencing some sort of distress or pain. Here I was thinking that I'd worked through all these issues, and no, they were still there. Once that came to my awareness, I did something about it. I went and got a healer to help me. So awareness is your emotional guidance system. It gives you a starting point. And then acceptance, embracing your emotions without judgment or resistance. Allowing yourself to feel what you feel, no matter how uncomfortable those emotions might be. You accept them, because when we resist our feelings, they tend to persist. We all heard that one? What you resist persists. So you're accepting that you are feeling this. Then processing. Processing means engaging with them consciously, exploring the root causes of what's causing your distress. Including any unresolved issues or past traumas that you may have had. I love this one, release. Releasing your emotions, letting go of those past experiences, pent-up feelings, and all of that energy that they consume. And that may involve expressing your feelings in a healthy or constructive manner, maybe writing things down, somehow making space for that healing. And then growth. Difficult, painful events change us, but not necessarily for the worse. People who pass through the stages of emotional healing often emerge with new wisdom, strength, and meaning that they didn't have before. Emotional growth empowers us to make positive changes in our lives, and it's based on what this difficult experience has taught you. There's always a gift in it. And then integration. You begin to integrate that experience and the lessons into your daily life. And last but not least, transformation. So that represents the final stage where you emerge from your experiences as a stronger, more resilient person. You feel healed, you feel ready to move forward, and you're more confident in your ability to get through any hard times that come about and maintain your well-being. So as you're going through these stages, you have to have empathy for yourself. Treat yourself with kindness. Don't judge yourself. And when you're in pain, it's natural to try to shut your feelings down, deny your experience, etc., or do things that numb or remove you from the pain you feel, which we call avoidant coping strategies, right? We all know what those are. Maybe turning to alcohol, drowning in your sorrows, all that kind of stuff, different things like that. And those just really don't help us at all. So practice noticing your thoughts, feelings, and body sensations too, without judging and without really even trying to change them. Just feel them. Now, being present may be the hardest task to accomplish. It can be difficult to stay present because we rarely ever realize that we're not present. And that's why we sort of get lost in trains of thought. We're just somewhere else. We have to bring ourselves back to like, okay, let's be here, let's be present. So we sort of have to train ourselves to do that. So we need to manage our emotions in a way that brings us back to our original state and empowers us to choose our actions. And there's a lot of ways to do that. You can, breathing exercises, muscle relaxation, mindfulness, pet your dog. That always makes us feel good. There's all kinds of ways. It's just finding what makes you feel better. And feel your feelings. Don't stuff them down. So Eckhart Tolle, again, to bring him up, makes a case for alleviating suffering in our lives being directly connected to our ability to reconnect to the now, our ability to be present-minded. So it's not about ignoring challenges and looking at beautiful scenery. It's about taking the weight of your mind away from the problems, which are mostly caused by the mind, by the way, and moving that weight to things that can help you with solutions. Like being fully present for things that help improve your mood, free up thinking space, or better connect to your real inner states of being. Like find what brings joy to your heart and do that. It could be anything, gardening, whatever it is. Everybody's different, but everybody has something that they love to do. Sometimes we forget to do that. So, I'd like to close now by reading a poem by Rumi, because I think he really sums it all up very beautifully. Because even our most difficult emotions are giving us a gift if we would just recognize it. Now this is called the guest house. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thoughts, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Thank you so much.